Okay, so there's another video where I'm going to be exposing a passive racist on the Discord server. So I'm going to cut right to the chase. Ascalon, this individual here with the groundskeeper Willie avatar, is a passive racist, and they are a passive racist on the Atheist Community of Austin Discord servers, also known as the Atheist Community of Discord. I'll post a link to their Discord server in the description. Um, so this is actually part of a broader issue. So before I get into the meat of everything, I need to kind of give some background on what's going on here. So the ACA has been embroiled in a lot of controversy regarding bigotry from some people who are either friends of the ACA or whatever. The biggest one was the transphobe incident involving, oh geez, I'm forgetting. Rationality Rules, I think his name is. I'm not that familiar with him, but he made a video that was transphobic, and it was admitted to be transphobic by even Matt Dillahunty. The video was taken down and replaced with a better video, which I admit I saw the second video and it was much better. But yeah, there was a big exit, like basically, without getting into too many details on that, a big chunk of the ACA actually left the ACA because the ACA's response to that was extremely bad. Like they basically condemned this rationality rules guy, and then due to pressure that Matt Dillahunty was putting on the ACA, he basically threatened to leave the ACA. Um, they they withdrew their like condemnation, and a lot of people didn't like that, so they left. Matt Dillahunty has also done a lot of other questionable things. Now, to be clear, I actually respect Matt Dillahunty so far, but it needs to be said that he has shared the stage with well-known racists like Sam Harris, and has even praised Sam Harris in the past for various different things. Sam Harris is a racist. He made a article called "In Defense of Torture," which was defending the torture of people during the Iraq War and so forth. He also made an article defending the use of racial profiling. So yeah, he has displayed a pattern of racism and has also bought into race realism and you know and race and IQ stuff. You know, believing that there is that race and IQ are a thing, which is debunked pseudoscience, racist pseudoscience. So that's to give some background. So there has been a lot of controversy regarding the ACA in recent times, and how well they've been doing on human rights and so forth. So what I'm here to say right now is that the moderators on the Discord server are horribly passive racists. Now these guys don't hesitate to jump on people's back when the issue's like about abortion. Like these guys seem to be pretty heavy into being pro-abortion and stuff like that. But they never take a stance when it comes to racism, and that's a huge deal. So we have to understand there's a big difference between. I shouldn't say there's a big difference, but rather passive racism is a subset of racism. That is to say that passive racism manifests mostly as a tacit approval of racism. They don't go around saying the N word, however, they do basically they'll say racist things without consciously acknowledging that they're racist or have racist positions, or they don't take a stance against racism, which is the main issue with this Ascalon person. So let's get into this right now. So how did all this begin? Like things were already kind of tense. So here I'm talking to my friend. This is my buddy, Denizen. Okay, and I'm basically like trying to explain to him what's going on. He's actually researching the stuff already. So I don't want to get bogged down in too many of the details, but basically I was talking to someone. I'm gonna open this thing up right here. I think that's showing up. Yeah. Um, So I was talking to someone, this racist called Sniper Noob, and he was praising that Pete Buttigieg guy. I call him Pete Buttcakes, and saying that he could make a good Democratic presidential candidate or whatever. And I said, no, he's a racist. And I gave citations demonstrating that this fucker is a racist. So here's an article that shows that um, in the South Bend, where Pete was a mayor, black people were 4.3 times more likely to be arrested uh, for possession of marijuana than white people. And that is above the national uh, rate, which is 3 to 1, which is already bad enough. But in the town that Mayo Pete was the mayor of, it was even higher than that. Um, so that was for marijuana. Let's go back. And then I provided another citation showing that Mayor Pete kowtowed to racist white cops, who put pressure on Mayor Pete to fire a black police chief. And of course, Sniper Noob starts sea lining. So sea lining means uh, asking for citations in bad faith. Now, I had already provided 2, so keep that in mind. And basically, without getting into too many more details, I provided 2 more citations for a grand total of 4 citations. And I'm basically arguing with this sack of shit over and over again. Like, I'm providing evidence for the claim that Pete is a racist, and then Sniper Noob doesn't believe the evidence that I have presented, and then asks for more over and over again. And meanwhile, Ascalon is watching all of this. Okay, Ascalon is hovering over this entire conversation. Why? Because Ascalon has been on my ass in the past plenty of times. Like I said, they're passive racists, so they kind of follow me around wherever I go, and they're trying to like look at every little thing that I do to see if they can get me for something, looking for an excuse to either time me out or ban me. All right, so people are already antagonizing me. So you look at this, someone posts like I said that I posted a citation to TYT, and they said, does TYT have any citations? I said, TYT is the one who broke this story open. They have an investigator. And then someone posts like this meme of Bernie Sanders showing blank astonishment or like bewilderment or disbelief as a way to antagonize me instead of presenting an argument. So these people, that's what they do over there. They constantly antagonize and mock people through passive aggressive gestures, which Ascalon does later on. But you'll notice Ascalon doesn't say anything to this person here, kind to people, ruthless to systems. Ascalon doesn't warn this person for antagonism. Um, then, so I'm just talking to my buddy here. Like, my buddy is he's actually the one who posted all of this stuff. So let's fast forward a little bit. Okay, so he actually highlighted this part here. So Sniper Noob is saying, please quote me the part of the article that demonstrates what you're saying, because I have not seen it. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I haven't seen it there. And then I point out correctly, no, you're sea lioning. Read the articles yourself, do some research. I gave you a start, do your own homework. All right, I had provided 4 citations demonstrating that Pete Buttcakes is a racist. And this Sniper Noob refuses to accept any of the evidence that I provided, demonstrating that marijuana arrests for black people is over 4 times as high, and that he fired a black police chief at the behest of his donors and of racist white cops. I demonstrated all of that, and Sniper Noob keeps on asking for more evidence. So then, what does Ascalon do? So Sniper Noob dishonestly misrepresents what I did, saying like, you put two links in here. When I asked you to show me the part that demonstrates your point, you said just do yourself, and I said absolutely not. I made arguments. I pointed you to evidence. I made you aware of something that you were totally ignorant of. You should be thanking me instead of misrepresenting what I did, which is absolutely what that fucker did. Then then this racist asshole says you didn't make any arguments. You made a claim, said this article proves it, and refused to clarify any further. Now, Sniper Noob is a racist. At first, I didn't realize the depth of how racist this guy is. But basically, this is the type of racist where if you show this person any amount of evidence of racism, they will always deny it, just like any Trump supporter. So, since I knew it was pointless talking to him, I just made a small jab at him, which wasn't even it was nothing. I just said, "Keep telling yourself that, bruh." Then Ascalon immediately jumps on my ass and says, "All right, enough now, please. Disengage if this is going to carry on. It's getting silly." We hadn't even discussed the issue. I didn't even say anything, which, by the way, is totally in defiance of free speech. You need to be able to point out when someone is being an idiot. And yes, Matt Dillahunty does that all the fucking time on his show. He calls them names, he insults them, he denigrates their intelligence, he does all these things. Now, in all fairness, I actually don't begrudge him for that, because most of the time, although not always, he's mostly right whenever he insults the person that he's arguing with on the atheist experience. Um, it's it is necessary sometimes in order to mock someone for being a fucking moron. And you need to call someone a racist. I'll get into more of this later, but basically, if you call someone a racist on the atheist community of Austin Discord servers, uh, they'll they consider that name calling, and they'll time you out. Yeah, that's a thing, and Ascalon has done that in the past. Um, so the point is that there's double standards. There's a double standard between what Matt does on the atheist experience and what is actually permitted on their Discord server. Um, that's hypocrisy right there. But what Ascalon is doing is that you'll notice that throughout this entire debate, okay, Ascalon never took a position against racism, never took the side against Pete Buttcakes. Never took, because Pete Buttcakes is a racist. Why doesn't Ascalon take a position against racism and look into this? Let's say this person's ignorant, which, by the way, this person's a very dumb person. Okay. She actually didn't even know what the Second Amendment was. That's how dumb they are. um, and they have them as a moderator when they're not even qualified to do anything else. Like, they don't even know what the Second Amendment is. What this person could have done was they could have looked into what Pete was and then actually took a position against racism, which is the moral thing to do, which is what any moderator should do. Instead, and I will also point out a hypocrisy. They always do this when it comes to abortion. So what I notice is that these are they are more feminist than they are anything else. They will immediately, whenever a topic of abortion comes up, all the moderators will take a position against abortion. Excuse me, that is pro-abortion. And they'll argue with these people, they'll debate with them, and they'll even break their own rules, which I'll get into later too. Um, but yet, when it comes to an issue of racism, they never take a stance against it. And here's the evidence of it. Ascalon never took a position against racism throughout this entire discussion, and then tried to shut the discussion down. So let's move on. So here I say, right, Ascalon shuts down the entire convo without taking a position against racism. Uh, then my buddy says people in favor of Ascalon's intervention are very small, and I said Sniper Noob actually was the one. If you look at this image right here, Sniper Noob actually agreed with Ascalon saying to end the discussion, which betrays their bias that Sniper Noob is a racist and he's agreeing with Ascalon, who is also a passive racist, trying to shut down this very important conversation. Then my buddy says, here's where it gets good, though. So Cypher9 says, I mean, we can also talk about how he weaseled out of so many policy positions if you don't want us to talk about his only political position he ever held and how he did a bad job there. So Cypher9 is actually, agreeing with me, essentially. And I also pointed out he was also, talking about Pete, Mayor Pete, also responsible for 4 times as many black people being arrested for cannabis possession. Now, it's kind of hard to read here, but it says citation needed. They actually have an emoji that says citation needed. And Sniper Noob actually posted that emoji reaction. Now, you'll remember the first thing I posted was a citation for black people being arrested 4 times, over 4 times as much as white people for marijuana possession. That was the first thing I posted. So you can tell this guy's a sea lioner, okay? Now, I can't remember if I think I did mention before what sea lining is, but again, very briefly, sea lining means you are asking for citations in bad faith for the purposes of trolling. That's it. You're not interested in actually the citations. You're just there to annoy someone and to waste their time and their energy by asking for endless amounts of citations, even after citations have already been provided. So Sniper Noob is not a good faith debater. They are a racist troll. So what does Ascalon do? They post this weird image, and honestly, I don't even know what this means. Maybe someone else can tell me what this means. It just seems like random nonsense to me. But this was disruptive posting. I don't know what this has to do with anything that we were talking about, but Ascalon posted this as a way to, I guess, antagonize me. You'll notice a recurring theme here is antagonizing me. It gets even worse. So my buddy says, they react to you with citation needed. The first search results I get are on the issue of black marijuana arrests. Literally the first 2. So in other words, it's easy to look it up. That's the other thing about sea lioning. They ask for citations when they can easily look up those citations themselves. And my buddy says, which proves your point entirely, they are refusing to do even the bare minimum of research. And I say, exactly. I provided 4 citations and they kept asking for more over and over again. That's sea lioning. And then my buddy points out, people care about the topic and are still discussing, yet Ascalon intervenes anyway. Let's look at what is being said here. So, Deshaun, he's another one of my friends. Remember when Mayo Pete told black people he didn't want their vote? And then Cypher9 agrees, yep, that was also a thing. And so I take another jab at Sniper Noob, a harmless jab, saying, watch Sniper Noob say citation needed again. After he has been sea lining this entire time, but yet Ascalon never intervenes there when he was clearly trolling. And then Ascalon jumps on my ass, saying, did I not just ask for this nonsense to stop? Since when is pointing out racism nonsense? Ascalon is a huge racist. They are huge fucking racist. They're just doing it in a sneaky way. Then Sniper Noob says, this will be my last post on the topic because I don't want to get myself into trouble, even though he's not, like, according to Ascalon. So Ascalon's only selectively enforcing these rules towards me. So anytime Sniper Noob says something, Ascalon doesn't say shit. And you might say, well, Ascalon says it immediately after over here. But actually, they were posting this shit at the same time. So this was actually supposed to go right down here. So Sniper Noob says, this will be my last post on the topic, but all I was asking was for you to point me to where in the article the claims are pulling, blah, blah, blah. It's the usual sea lining BS, where they try to say, hey, I'm asking in a very reasonable way for citations, even though you already posted 4 citations which prove your point. And then I just say to Ascalon, this is a pretty important topic to discuss. I'm all for discussing it maturely, but C-lining stifles any progress in discussing it. And then I say to my buddy, yeah, apparently racism is nonsense, to Ascalon. And then Ascalon says, that isn't what I asked. I don't even understand. Ascalon is one of the most incoherent, dumb people on the Discord servers, which is not surprising since racism is correlated with stupidity. Then I say, I get what you asked, but when someone says citation needed every 2 seconds, we can't discuss the topic properly. Then Tub Thumpin, who's also a passive racist, says, don't discuss it. So there's a pattern. Like, it's not just Ascalon that's a passive racist. Like, pretty much every moderator and anyone who's in a position of power, they're all white people. And there is a passive bias in these people where they just don't want to talk about racism. They don't ever want to expose racism. They never take a position against racism because they have passive biases against non-whites themselves and trying to maintain the status quo and stuff like that. And they are trying to do everything they can to shut down any discussion about racism. They constantly do this. And yeah, there's more about Tub Thump in that, but that's a completely different video. And also another big passive racist is Stoner Girl. Again, that's a whole different video. Then Ascalon posts this antagonizing emoji showing, I don't know, exasperation, annoyance. Okay. Then I try to point it out in a very calm and reasonable manner. We should discuss it, though. Racism isn't a petty issue. And then Tup Thumpin shows his passive racism himself. This isn't an invitation for you to debate the morality of the discussion you want to have. I was not debating the morality of the discussion. I was pointing out that it isn't a petty issue. And so the discussion about racism should be had. So that shows just how stupid these people are. They are authoritarians, essentially. They're like little Hitlers. You can tell when someone how much of a fascist someone actually is when you give them just a little bit of power. When you give them a little bit of power, you make them moderators of a Discord server, then they go insane with it. And now here he goes with this authoritarianism. This is me telling you, after Ascalon already did, to stop having the discussion because the discussion was not productive. The discussion was very productive. It was just someone was being sea-lining. And there were other people who were willing to have the discussion. Then Sunflamer just kind of chimes in with like a trolley comment. Today I learned what sea-lining means. So people do this all the time. They just post antagonizing stuff all the time. But Ascalon doesn't say anything about that. And I say sea-lining is the oldest trick in the book. And it is. Sea-lining is the oldest trick in the book. It is such an easy way to troll people because a lot of people don't understand the concept of sea-lining, that you can easily bog down someone with endless amounts of research to find citations that they can look up themselves because they're asking in bad faith. Then Bradley, this guy is a racist. This isn't the first time this happened. Whenever somebody asks for a source, they get accused of being acting in bad faith. Regardless of why someone is asking, you should be willing and able to support your assertion. Now, you'll actually, I didn't hover over who made this emoji, which means they support what this is saying. But Sniper Noob was one of them, and Ascalon might have been the second one. Now remember, I posted 4 citations. Now Bradley is a racist. I've actually gone to arguments with him in the past. So I post a video detailing what sea-lining is to a very good video, which explains it. Then I respond to Bradley saying, not at all, I provided 4 sources actually. So then, what happens? So my buddy picks up on the obvious fact. They all start dismissing my arguments and mocking me. And guess what? Ascalon joins in. So Ben is also a passive racist. I've gone into arguments with him in the past too. He refuses to call anyone a racist. He does the whole I don't want to call people racist. I only want to describe behavior as racist, which is a passive racist tactic. This is what racists do to basically create a shield for themselves so that they can immunize them from any accusations of racism. And so this guy, I've gone to arguments with him in the past, and so now he's taking shots at me, trying to mock me. And then Bradley joins in, coin behind your ear. And then what does Ascalon do? I thought it was the bendy pencil. And then he posted this emoji, oh my, from George Takai, I think his name is. So what are they doing? They're trolling. They're antagonizing me, including a moderator, the passive racist in question. They were all antagonizing me, and Ascalon, instead of telling them to stop doing that, this motherfucker joins in. And then, there's more antagonism. And I say to my buddy, absolutely, they were antagonizing me, which is against the rules, and Ascalon joined in. And then my buddy points out, even after the topic was changed, yeah. So instead of attacking them for antagonizing me, what do? This is a Discord server about politics. Okay, this channel is about politics. So I tried to steer the topic back onto politics by posting a video. So then what did? They continued to mock me and antagonizing me. Or you could place a card on a downward slope and the fiddle with the brakes. I don't even know what that means. And then Ascalon says, good point. Even after I post a video trying to get us on topic on a different political subject, they continue antagonizing me and mocking me, which is against the rules. And I say to my buddy, I tried to change the subject, but they continue to mock me. Ascalon breaks the rules and then selectively enforces them against me. My buddy says it's a problem all too common with the elite mentality that comes with being handpicked to be a mod. And I also point out they're all white too. So they're emotionally detached from the issue of racism. Then I point out that I'm going to make a video tomorrow, and that's where we are today. So fast forward to, I should say rewind to yesterday. Ascalon eventually blocks me. And I wish I could show you some of the interaction here with Ascalon, but I don't have that prepared. Maybe I might show that later in another video, but I can just tell you about it. I made like a small jab, kind of similar to their jabbing to me at another well-known racist. I was kind of teasing him about how Biden won. I said, "Oh, you must be pretty sad that Biden won. Don't worry, you can vent all your frustrations. Just like a little playful jab, nothing big." What happens? Tub thumping, the racist that we talked about before, and Ascalon jump on my ass and tell me, don't antagonize other members. It's against the rules. Well, what the fuck was all this? When you guys were antagonizing me, you didn't stop them. When I tried to veer the subject back onto politics, Ascalon joins in on the antagonism. This passive racist motherfucker. And then I had it. At this point. I DM Ascalon and I say to them, don't talk to me about antagonism when yesterday you were taking shots at me when I was trying to talk about a very serious issue of racism, and you shut it down and then started mocking me. And then Ascalon then accused me of harassing her, and she made herself the perpetual victim, and then got this other sack of shit, Justin, to ban me from the Discord. And before I conclude, there's one more thing I want to point out. Oh yeah, before I even get to that, pay close attention to this avatar of Groundskeeper Willie from Simpsons. It needs to be pointed out The Simpsons is also guilty of racism. There was a big controversy about the depiction of Indian people on that show, with Apu being a stereotypical dumb Indian person, and this really good comedian Harry Kondabalu made a like a documentary about the racism in The Simpsons called "The Problem with Apu," and Ascalon doesn't give a shit, demonstrating their passive racism once again, and makes an avatar of Groundskeeper Willie, a racial stereotype, by the way, but it's of a white person. But the point is that they're taking an avatar from a show that is guilty of racism itself. So that's also bad enough. Um, but before we do, just because I can, so Justin DMs me and says that I'm being banned for harassment, and I asked for evidence, and then they show a screenshot which was taken from Ascalon's uh, computer, and you'll notice on the bottom right it says activate Windows, go to settings to activate. That is a watermark for anyone who has pirated their version of Windows. So do with that what you will. Anyway, so I'm gonna be making more videos exposing the passive racists at the ACA Discord because they need to be outed. I'm getting some of my friends to gather more evidence and more screenshots, and I'll post some more stuff later. All right, have a good one, guys.